Hey everyone, Icon here from Attack Magazine. In this video, we're excited to break down the newest emulation of one of the most famous pieces of studio gear ever created. This is the H3000 Factory Mk II by Eventide. Before we look at how it sounds and what's new about it, let's start with a quick H3000 history lesson. To this day, the H3000 Harmonizer is considered as the holy grail of multi-effects. Its high-quality pitch shifting, filtering, and delay algorithms made it one of the go-to tools for thick chorus and rich spatial effects for the biggest producers and mixing engineers in the industry. And this was all the way back in the 80s, but 40 years on, demand remains the same. If you need any proof, all you need to do is search H3000 on eBay. And we thought hardware compressors were expensive. The original H3000 Harmonizer was designed and manufactured in the late 80s by none other than future Soundtoys founder Ken Bogdanowicz and Soundtoys engineer Bob Belcher during their youth years working at Eventide. One of their biggest innovations was the intelligent pitch shifter that became hugely important in the overall sound of the device. The combination of multiple delays with the multiple pitch shifters is what created the famous chorus character. From 1988 onward, all big studios started picking it up, and Eventide gradually released other versions, including the 3000 SE that added even more effects like a vocoder, band delays, and a string modular. Artist and sound designer Brian Eno loved the H3000 SE so much that he even sent a letter to the team in 1992, calling it the best designed piece and most enjoyable piece of equipment that he's ever owned. We put the full letter on screen and you can pause if you want to read the whole thing. Every engineer in the 90s was talking about the H3000 and the presets were known by heart. One example is Andrew Sheps, who claims to have used one specific vocal thickening preset on every single track he's ever mixed. This includes mixes for Beyonce, Jay-Z, Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Adele, Metallica, and many more. Switching to plugin territory, in the early 2000s, Soundtoys released the multi-effects plugin Sound Blender. This was the closest you could get to the kind of creative effects found in the H3000. In 2007, the now familiar native effects plugins by Soundtoys followed, which could be considered as the first software using algorithms similar to those of the H3000. In 2012, Eventide released their first full emulation, the H3000 Factory. This came with all of the original presets and introduced a fun visual modular workflow. Looking at this plugin 12 years later, it's easy to see that an update was long overdue, and the new UI is a breath of fresh air. Apart from the new look and improved usability, the Mk II features a brand new preset library with 500 presets, including the originals, and new modeling of the analog digital and digital to analog converters from the original device. The filters have also been remodeled. Like the factory plugin, the band delays version of the H3000 plugin, which splits the input signal into 8 different bands for separate processing, has also gotten the Mk II treatment, which we'll also take a look at throughout the video. In the next 3 sections, we'll first use some H3000 presets to fatten up a new disco mix. After that, we'll check out some of the more sound design friendly applications. Finally, we'll build our own patch to demonstrate how the modular workflow functions. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate the support. Also, be sure to listen on headphones or studio monitors to hear all of the effects more clearly. We have a purple disco machine style beat playing, featuring classic elements. We'll check out different combination of these while using the factory plugin to add ambience, width, and other effects. A pad is always good to start things off. We have the MC analog delays preset loaded up, and it instantly adds character to this unprocessed pad. The H3000 is actually fairly straightforward to use. When you open a preset, most of the time you'll get a number of soft keys, which can be considered as macros. You click the button and turn the large knob to tweak them. Below you have tempo sync controls, your mix amount, and input-output levels. You can also see your input or output by toggling the button on the left. At the top right here, you have snapshots where you can add your favorite presets, either just for the current session or as a general decision for every time you open an instance of the plugin. Things get more interesting when you expand the program, expert, or function views. This may look intense, but everything is actually very clear. In Program, you can see the modular configuration of the patch, and you can click each effect block to see the individual controls. In Expert, you can see the parameters for every effect block at once, and in Function, you can set a modulation source for all key parameters. We'll take a more detailed look at the functionality when we build our own patch later on. For now, we'll minimize the window and focus on the presets and soft keys. We'll add a second instance of the H3000 to the pad and select the Doubler 2 preset. We're going to be using the word thickness a lot in this video, and this is a prime example right off the bat. For the second example, we'll insert the H3000 on a return channel and select the dual H910s preset. This is again a chorus focus preset and works great with claps. We'll route our clap to the return and just listen how stereo the claps become. Let's get a bit more creative with the bass. We'll use no less than 3 presets for this. First is the famous wah-wah preset. Then we'll use the basic chorus preset to add some width, and this will make those resonant squelches cut through the mix a bit more. Thirdly, we'll use the crush preset and set the dry wet to only 1% to add some bit crush effects to every note hit. Here's the bass with and without all 3 presets. For this rhythm guitar, we'll try the duck delay feedback block preset on a return channel. This preset ducks the delay when the dry signal is playing. At this point, let's play the mix with all of the effects we've added so far and then bypass them. Even though we're exaggerating the effects a tiny bit, the difference is pretty mind-blowing. Now let's add the vocal back in. We'll add the 521 micro pitch slap preset on a return channel and route the vocals to it. This is Andrew Shep's and many other engineers' go-to trick for widening and thickening vocals.
Now that I found you, I feel something deeper. Temperature rising, caught up in the fever. Head in my heart's telling me that I need ya. Baby, you give me a case of amnesia. Amnesia. Caught up in the fever. Head in my heart's telling me that I need ya.
To add a larger ambience, we can create one more return channel and use the H3000 Band Delays Mark II plugin. This works similarly to the factory plugin, but it has 8 delay bands, each featuring unique controls for level, panning, filter type, frequency, and Q. This means you can split the incoming signal into up to 8 different bands and process each differently. For the vocals, we'll use the Settle Down Echo preset.
Amnesia. Now that I found you, I feel something deeper. Temperature rising, caught up in the fever. Head in my heart telling me that I need ya. Baby, you give me a case of amnesia. Amnesia.
almost like introducing a granular texture with 8 different voices coming in at different times with different panning. Here's the full mix, first with all H3000 instances and then without. It just feels so much warmer, wider, and less digital with all of the rich chorus and delay effects.
Now that I found you, I feel something deeper. Temperature rising, caught up in the fever. Head in my heart telling me that I need ya. Baby, you give me a case of amnesia. Amnesia.
Moving on to sound design, let's start this segment with some drum buzz. We'll load up the Crush Drum Hits preset on this beat. We can get more chaotic with the Chaos Generator preset. Let's see how this same preset sounds on a drone. The Glitch Witch preset is great for adding a bubbly ambience. Let's jump to some of the artist presets. Richard Devine's ones are great for glitchy sound design, and we'll run a percussion loop through the testers. Let's also try some H3000 band delays presets. We'll just have 1 or 2 drum samples playing to see what kind of interesting rhythms we can get. The 8 band panning really sounds amazing. Now let's try to add some ambience to some ARPs. To get a better idea of the inner workings of the H3000 Factory, let's build our own preset. We'll load an instance on a return channel and route this synth loop to the return. For now, we'll solo the return channel so we don't hear the dry signal. We'll set it to the default setting to be able to start from scratch. The first step is opening up the program section where we can get into some modular synthesis style patching. To keep it simpler, let's only use the main delay, pitch shift, and filter effect blocks, and maybe later on an LFO as well. This is more than enough to achieve the large rich chorus that the H3000 is famous for. First, we'll patch the left input to delay 1 and then the delay 1 out to filter 1. We'll go out from the filter 1 to the left out. Now when playing, we can only hear sound coming from the left. The filter is set to a cutoff of 500 Hz by default, and we'll leave it there for now and repeat the same patching for the right channel. You'll notice we're skipping over the pitch shift blocks, but we're going to get to them later on. With the routing to the delay setup, we can already get some chorus by setting different delay times. We'll map both of the delay times to a soft key to be able to control them more easily. The key is setting different ranges so that the delays are never exactly the same when you're moving the soft key. In the expert view, we can see exactly how we're affecting the delay time. While we're here, we'll also set the high cut frequency to 5 kHz for both delays. This will cut the highs. To give us control over the filters, we can map the cutoff and resonance to soft key 2 and set the ranges. We'll also name soft key 2 filter. Now we'll play the return signal with the dry signal as well. With the return active or bypassed, you can directly hear how much the sound is being thickened even before we get into pitch shifting at all. We'll go back to the program view and introduce the pitch shifter blocks for both left and right. Now with these pitch shifters, we could go for full semitone pitch shifts, and that can be great for achieving a lo-fi sound. However, with small amounts and detuning, we can create even more fat chorus than what we already had with these delays. As we keep highlighting, it's the combination of micro delays and micro detuning that gives the H3000 its signature sound. We'll set the range for the left pitch shift amount to be between only 0 and 10 cents, and the range for the right to be between 0 and -10. We'll also make sure both of these are controlled by our first soft key along with the delay time. To mix things up even more, we can introduce delay time to the pitch shift. We'll leave the default ranges of 10 to 600 milliseconds and map these to a third soft key. With the 2 delays plus this new pitch shift delay amount, this will create a 3-voice detuned ambience. We'll route another dry synth lead to the return channel and also add some drums. Listen to how the beat goes from a raw demo to a polished track when we bypass the return channel and then enable it. It's this exact style of texture that made the original H3000 and now the plug-in version a must-have for the most high-end studios around the world. We can also route an LFO to the filter. We'll just need to increase the mod amounts in each filter and then go back to the LFO to tweak the rate. In terms of pricing, the H3000 Factory Mk II will cost $199 US, which is a welcome discount compared to the earlier version's price of $350. If you already own Mark I, the crossgrade price will be $99. The H3000 Band Delays Mark II also has a new price of $149 with a crossgrade price of $69. Both will be available from May 1st. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe for all the latest content from Attack Magazine. Until next time.